Hey, what's up, Vox and Hops heads? I'm Matt, the vocalist of Cryptopsy and the host of the Vox and Hops podcast, brought to you by Sound Talent Media, where I sit down with fellow metal musicians to talk about their lives, music, and craft beer. I hope you guys had a great weekend. I had an absolute blast celebrating the 2-year anniversary of Vox and Hops. I am still stoked, blown away, and just so thankful and grateful that I've had the chance to be doing Vox and Hops for over 2 years now. It is simply amazing. I love it. That would not be possible without all of you Vox and Hops heads who have listened to the podcast, all of the Vox and Hops alumni for coming and having a chat with me and sharing a brew, and of course to my beautiful wife and wonderful producer, Jessica Buckingham, because Vox and Hops would be nothing without her. This is a Heavy Montreal presents Vox and Hops episode. Heavy Montreal is Montreal's premier metal promoter. When there isn't a global pandemic, they normally put on a bunch of sick metal shows throughout the year, and they host one of North America's sickest festivals. Trust me when I say this, people. I have played just about all of them, and Heavy Montreal is up there with the best of them. I am super stoked to have Heavy Montreal behind the Vox and Hops podcast. I'm very excited about today's episode because it is with an artist that I truly love and appreciate, and their record will be in my top 10 of 2020. Get ready, people. This is Vox and Hops episode number 198 with Farida Lemouchi of Molassess and the Devil's Blood.
I warn you, what you are about to hear is very disturbing indeed.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Today I'm with Farida Lemouchi of Molassess and, of course, of the Devil's Blood. I am super stoked to be with you because I am a massive fan, especially of this new record that just came out on October 16th via Season of Mist called Through the Hollow. How are you doing, Farida? And tell me, I like to launch a complex question at first recently, is how have you been coping with 2020?
2020. Well, we were recording the album, so that was a great part of 2020. I'm working on that. That was cool. And for the rest, it's a shitty year, but aren't they all?
There are some highlights. It's true that you guys recorded this beautiful record. It's so beautiful. I love it. I love the vibe of it. It takes you on a journey. It's almost hypnotic. Take me and explain to people what Through the Hollow means for you.
It's exactly that journey. I think what you just described of moving through some real hard times of mourning and loss and horror. I don't know. Just the most shitty parts of life and struggling through that and and then moving on. It's like it takes you to a higher plan if you let it, and I think that is pretty symbolic for moving through the hollow.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you can feel it throughout the whole record that there's this whole evolutionary process of grieving and getting through it. It's beautiful. It's really, I can't tell you enough how much I enjoy it. I've been listening to it nonstop since it came out a few days ago, which is dating this interview, but I have to say it.
Thanks.
What is up with your relationship with Roadburn? Because they seem to be very, a huge part of your whole career.
Yeah, that's true.
They, the Devil's Blood premiered there. They asked Molassess to come and perform in 2019, which subsequently led you to forming and putting out a full length. So talk to me about your relationship with Roadburn, being from the Netherlands and it being such a monumental festival.
Yeah, well, we knew Walter Roadburn was there for years and years, and we visited the festival. And you know, when you are, you know, all the musicians and people and friends and blah blah blah. And Walter was a part of that group. And yeah, with the Devil's Blood, our first show was there. Even when we, at first we thought we were only going to record some stuff and never play. And then Walter called Selim like, do you want to play? And we were like, oh, should we do that? So we thought about it for quite a while. And then we thought, yeah, why not? So yeah, and then it began. Yeah, it's a very close relationship we have, and everything. It's like this annual feast for everyone, and yeah, it's a special. It's also have you ever been there?
I haven't, sadly. I have played the O13 a bunch of times with my band Cryptopsy. I know the city very well. I've played there many, many times. I always end up at the Little Devil, of course, whenever you're in Tilburg. You have to. So no, I haven't, but it is. I know that it's a monumentous festival, which is extremely eclectic, and it is a gathering of a whole bunch of amazing musicians in one place.
Yeah, musicians and people who like music, and everything is just one big, yeah. When I say happy family, it wouldn't, it sounds a little bit crazy, but it is that actually. So yeah, even, I mean, you don't have to be in a band or be a musician to feel the same thing that is going on there all the time. So it is good to be there, and yeah, well, if you can play Roadburn, that's the best.
Absolutely.
So,
and all the venues in the Netherlands are just so beautiful, but O13, it's got something special for sure.
Yeah, it does. And Tilburg is a really cool place. I mean, I live in Eindhoven. It's like a 20-minute drive from Tilburg, and all the people there are. It's a cool place to be. So love it. Yeah.
Absolutely, and the FNR is still very cool too, though.
Well, it's in my hometown. The old FNR was way cooler, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Last time I was there, I went to, being a huge craft beer enthusiast, I went and drank some beer at the Trafalgar. I'm going to get this right. Trafalgar pub. Yes.
The Trafalgar pub. Yeah.
That's it. Yes. We had a good night there, and I enjoyed quite a few great Netherlands craft brews. Yeah, Vox&Hops is all about me hanging out with metal friends and talking about their lives, music, and craft beer. You said, "Is it okay that I'm drinking wine?" And I said, "Of course it's okay that you're drinking wine." But what wine are you drinking? Tell me about your relationship with wine.
Well, Job, kan je die wijn eens even pakken, alsjeblieft? What I'm drinking, because I don't know, but it's a really good one. Well, I love red wine, but yeah, we just had dinner with, you know, sometimes the wine is better with good food, and especially in autumn. It really, this is a Rosso Toscana. So it's an Italian wine, I guess, or not? It's a Vino Biologico.
Of course, yes.
But because you're about beer, I'm going to finish this, and then I'm going to take a craft beer.
Good, awesome.
If Job wants to give me one. Even een biertje, een Loemelaer. Yeah.
That's awesome. On my side, I'm opening up a very good brew here in Montreal. It's the Impériale Choco-Noisette from one of my favorite breweries. They only make dark beers. This is Beauregard Brasserie Distillerie, and it is a 10.3% ABV. Oh. It is an Imperial chestnut chocolate stout. So I'm going to crack this open. Tell me about your relationship with beer. Do you remember your first beer, Farida?
Yes, I do. My father used to drink beers, and I was always the one who when he opened the bottle, he told me, pour it in my glass. And I always poured too hard, so the beer would come over it and I could drink it from, you know, so I was a very small child when I started drinking beer.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, and I
How
love
about,
it.
I know that the Netherlands has a beautiful craft beer scene. Tell me about your experience with craft beer, and if you are actually a craft beer enthusiast.
Well, you know, I'm an alcohol enthusiast, and I love beer. I think most of the time I drink beer, especially when you hang with friends and blah blah blah. And now this crafted beer thing is very hip. So you have lots of breweries around here, and you can sit and taste some. And well, I love to taste a good beer. But I think that you know, I love drinking lots of beer when I start drinking. So the very heavy ones you're talking about now,
Like this
they
beautiful
are
beer.
for yeah. Oh wow, that's a very dark one. Yeah. So that do you taste the chocolate?
Absolutely, it's the nice
Yeah.
roasted malts they got in. Yeah, it's like creamy chocolate with a booze bite, and then the hazelnut sort of crispiness at the end. It's
Okay.
delicious. They really make the best dark beers here in Montreal. They're just killing it. Killing a young
Great.
brewery, but they're doing great stuff. Yeah.
I think the downside of this really good heavy beer is you can't drink so much from it because you're drunk very soon, and the headaches are really terrible. So
Yes, it is a science, Farida. We have to be very aware of what's going on and drink lots of water to get through the day. If you start your day at 2 p.m. with a 10.3% Imperial chocolate stout, but you have to sometimes when you're hanging out with some awesomely dark musicians such as yourself. I think it was suited. It was suited. Take me to the soundtrack of your youth. When you were growing up in your parents' or guardians' home, what music was playing when you were not in control of the music? What music did your parents or guardians listen to?
well, my father he loved all the old Western movies with the music. So Morricone was there, so not too bad, and and lots of jazz music like Billie Holiday and Dave Brubeck and that sort of stuff. And my mother was more of the Pink Floyd and Queen and Yes and all that stuff. And I had this uncle, he had a apartment close to our house. Well, I was a little bit older then, like 10 or 11. And when he was working, he gave me the key. And he had this really big album collection. And I could sit in his apartment with headphones and listen to all his stuff. And there was lots of, also the Queen and the Yes and the everything, and from the 60s and the 70s, I had it all. The Stones, the Beatles, everything. Yeah.
That's amazing.
It was. Yeah, I had a really good basics there. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it was, I think. Oh, sorry. No.
No. Continue.
Well, it was some years later. I think when I was 12. These guys in my street. They were much older than me, and they were metalheads, real metalheads, and I found them very interesting. And we talked about music, and then they made me my first mixtape. And so then Motorhead and Rainbow and Accept, and they were all on that tape. And then this new world opened up to me. So yeah.
Wow. Do you imagine you didn't meet those people, you know?
Yeah. Imagine that.
I'm sure you would have stumbled onto it eventually because it's huge, but
probably, yeah, of course. But I'm happy I did so early, because then you have all this time to explore. So yeah.
Absolutely. And take me to your first show. The first show that you went to experience live. It doesn't have to be metal, it doesn't have to be extreme, just the first time live music.
It wasn't metal at all, because we had this band in Holland that called Doe Maar, a Dutch, they sang in Dutch also. It was a little bit reggae, and they became huge, like Beatle-esque. It was terrible actually, because they split. Yeah, because they split up because of it. They only existed for, I think, 4 years, And there were shows where girls started screaming and fainting, and it was terrible. And I think I was 11, and this uncle of the album collection, he bought 2 tickets, and it was here where later Dynamo Open Air took place. And we went to that concert. And I remember very well that I was struck by the insanity of people like, oh, okay, what the fuck is this? Yeah. But I enjoyed, that was really cool to see a band live you like, and you have the albums and yeah. So that was a nice experience. Yeah. But I remember very well though, we were sitting on the side and looking at all these crazy girls fainting, and I was like, okay, I do not understand this. So that never happened to me, luckily. It never got me here.
You weren't there for the frenzy, you were there because you were a fan of the music.
Yes, I wanted to see the band and I wanted to sing the songs, but I didn't want to faint and yell and scream. No.
Let's talk about singing a little bit. For myself, I've always sang. There's videos of me in my underwear in cowboy boots at 2 years old singing. How about you? Did you always sing, Farida, or is that something that came later in life?
No, I always sang or sing. Yeah, sang. I always sang. Yeah. I don't really know when it started. I always sang. We used to sing in the house. My mother was a real good soprano, and every time when we, did the dishes, and we would sing together, and 2 voices like that, and canon and everything, and we always were singing. My father and me were like this when we did this opera thing. When he started to talk to me, he did it in an opera voice, and I would talk to him in opera voice. And yeah, there was always music. Everyone, also my grandmother. I sang all the time, actually. Yeah.
That's amazing. Was there ever a moment that you imagined or aspired that you would be the one on stage? Was that something that happened early on, or did it come later?
No, it was not like that I had a dream or something, one day I will be in the Wembley Stadium or something, not like that, but I was always trying to, imitate Blondie, for example, and I could imagine of being famous, but it was not my goal. It was never an ambition or something. But you have this dream sometimes, or these fantasies. So I had the I don't know how do you say, we had a musical when we finished first of primary, no, not primary school, but I don't know.
High school.
You turn, yeah, when you go to high school and you finish the school before.
Right, middle school.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No worries.
Then we had this musical, and I got the head part, and I really enjoyed it to be the one. So yeah, I was never afraid of it or something. No.
Would have been your first time on stage?
Yeah, I think so. On a real stage with a real audience and stuff, but we always did it also, on parties at home. When my grandmother had her birthday, I would call up my cousins and say, okay, we're going to do this, and I would, arrange something, and then we would do it for our aunts and uncles, and yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. It's amazing. I love it. How do you feel about releasing this record during a pandemic when you can't tour it? Is touring something that is even in Molassess's plans in the future, or is it just something that's you're going to keep special for yourselves?
No, well, we have a tour planned.
Cool.
In January with Tribulation and Bolzer.
Very cool.
But yeah, I don't know, if it's gonna happen. So yeah, of course we want to play and we want to tour. Sure, if the tour is something we would, we would like, or the bands are okay, cool, but yeah, times are really strange now. So I think it's going to take a while before we can do that. Yeah.
Yeah, we got to be safe, and we got to keep our fans safe as well as ourselves.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing more dangerous and dirty than traveling in a big bus with 30 other people when there's a pandemic going on.
And then on stage, and then people. Yeah, I don't think it's good. Yeah.
Absolutely. Talk to me about not being on stage and that feeling. I know for myself, just this during the pandemic, I haven't played on a stage in a long time, since last July, because we entered a writing period. How were all the years when you weren't performing? How did you handle that?
Well, in the beginning, I didn't miss it because I had so many other things to do. There was so many things going on in my life that, it was just not a part of my life at that time. But after a few years, when I got to see other bands, or, my boyfriend, he was in the band, and Oots was in the, everyone was playing music, and I went along and was backstage, and I saw the bands, and then I had these moments where I thought, oh shit, I want to do that. I want to be, I miss this. But I always also thought one day, when the time is right, it will happen. Yeah. So
you just needed that time to heal.
Yeah, I needed the time to heal, and also to take care of my son, and to take care of my mother, and so many things that were more important at that moment. So yeah.
Absolutely. For this record, correct me if I'm wrong, I think this is the first time that you've actually handled lyrics on a record. Is that true?
That's true. Yeah.
How did you go about that? Is that something that made this record more difficult for you? Was it more of a exposing yourself more, making yourself more vulnerable?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. It was maybe in the beginning a little bit difficult on how to do that. I wanted to, but I didn't exactly know how, or where should I begin, or whatever. But I had this really good thing going on with Oots, the guitar player, who is also responsible for lots of the music, and we have this good connection, and we could talk about my feelings and our feelings, and what I wanted to say, and so over a period of time it just developed into these lyrics. So you have to get used to it. It's a little bit scary, but I was very sure that I wanted to talk about all the stuff that I had been through. So then, if you start and it goes well, then suddenly it just is not difficult anymore.
It's like just getting past that first roadblock, the momentum, everything just poured out almost.
Yeah, in a way, yes.
Yeah. You got to work at it though. I'm not a singer. I've interviewed a bunch of people that they write actively, and they actually, it's something that they do. They're writers. They write poems. They write. I'm not a singer like that. I write when I receive the music, and then I have a mission to accomplish, and I accomplish it. That's when I write my lyrics. Are you someone that jots stuff down? Are you a writer?
No, I'm not a writer. I'm not a poet. I'm not a speaker. I'm a singer. But I need some help, I need some, I don't know. I like to talk about, I like to think. I'm a thinker, and I like then to talk about my thoughts. And if I have someone in the near me who can translate these thoughts, and then something is happening, but I find it very difficult to sit down and take a piece of paper and then just start writing. That's not how it works for me. Yeah.
It has to be like a communion back and forth.
Yeah,
The communication has to be cyclical for someone to
yeah,
throw your own ideas back at you almost.
exactly. Yeah, something.
Very
Yeah, that's
interesting.
exactly how it works. Yeah.
Is it almost because if you're by yourself, you don't trust yourself and you don't think the ideas are good? Or
That is a part. That's a big part of it. Yeah, I think you know, I turn 50 next year, and then you think that, you know, you have no insecurities anymore, and you're just old, old and wise and blah 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 blah. But when you start something new, then you become, you know, a teenager again. Like, oh, what am I doing? And maybe I should not do this because I'm not good at it, and blah blah blah. Yeah, yeah. So that was a struggle also. Yeah, but
absolutely.
yeah.
As
But I think
sorry, go for it.
no.
As an artist, it's very natural for us to feel that way. I feel that way all the time, releasing a new record, or
Yeah,
when I started the podcast. There's always that moment of insecurity and fear that it's not going to go well.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
natural. Did you guys have that when you did this Roadburn with Molassess for the first time? Did you have all those feelings leading up to it?
I think so. Yeah, in the beginning, of course, there were lots of questions we asked ourselves the whole time. But we also had this point where we decided, okay, we're going to do this and we're going to try to make it work. But we also decided that, you know, if we thought it wasn't good enough, we would call Walter and say, well, sorry, but this is not going to happen because we have to have this standard, you know, this, yeah. But uh, I think every good thing comes out from an insecurity, because then you doubt and then you start looking into it, and you know, I think it's important.
I think
If
with
yeah,
all great art, 100%, you have to doubt yourself and look at it in a different angle. And then
yeah,
that there it comes in the communion of bringing someone else in to look at it from another angle that we wouldn't even
exactly,
see because we're way too close to the project.
yeah, exactly
Absolutely.
like that. Yeah.
Take me to we're going to do one song at Roadburn to here we are with a full record. What motivated you guys to do that? Was it just the reaction? Was it the experience of playing it? I just watched the video right before we jumped into this chat, and you looked like you had a great time. Where did it transform into a full album?
Well, I think that happened before show.
Really? Okay,
Because,
cool.
yeah, because when we were writing, you know, this material for the Roadburn show, we very soon found out, oh, there's so much more, and we have this really good thing going on, and we're not done yet. You know, we have to continue. So I think that idea was already there before the EP even,
Mm,
because we had this EP coming out on
that's right.
Roadburn. And before we went into the studio, we already knew we were going to make an album. We
Very
have to.
cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. And were there worries that you weren't going to please the Devil's Blood's fan base because you guys are such a mythical, monumentous band? Did you have that moment that they wouldn't accept it?
Well, we of course we thought about that also. You know, we had, yeah. I mean, um, there were high expectations, and that is always hard to live up to. I mean, it will never be what anyone expects. So we had to let that go also. And well, you know, well, in the end, I don't care, you know. Then,
It is a
yeah,
new project, and it has,
yeah,
you know, the roots are definitely founded in the Devil's Blood, but I feel like it's grown into something else. It's definitely
it is, it
it
is,
has different colors than the Devil's Blood definitely
yeah,
had.
yeah, yeah. It has to. I mean, it's different, you know, and of course we have our roots somewhere. We have this history, and that is, yeah. And we have 4 members of the band, so of course uh, there is a comparison, if you know, but yeah, we're something completely different.
Are you a
Yeah.
band? The modern era of bands typically don't write in a room together. They exchange ideas over the internet. Is that how Molasses worked?
Yeah, well, we had, Job, my boyfriend, he lives here, so we're here. Hi, Job. And, and Oets, he came to my place lots of times, where we just sit here at the kitchen table, working on ideas, thinking about lyrics also, and about a theme, and, all that stuff. And Ron was here for many times doing the same thing. And but there was always an idea already taped or demoed or whatever. And then everyone listened to it. And then we came into the rehearsal room and started working on that material. So I think, yeah. But also things have sprouted from the rehearsal room, so it's a little bit of everything, I guess. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Take me back. Let's travel back in time to your favorite tour that you've done. If you can go back and relive one tour that you've done, what tour would that be and why?
Well, that must have been the tour in the States. We went on tour with Behemoth, Watain, In Solitude, and The Devil's Blood. And I don't know, I cannot even grasp that in words, because it was the most, I've never experienced anything like it, and I think I never will, actually. It was so, we had such, what is the right word for that? We were total fan of each other. I mean, we had like a month, and every day we would watch the Watain show, we would watch the Behemoth show, we would watch the In Solitude show, and vice versa. So we were all watching each other every time, and it was like, that was crazy. That was phenomenal. And
that is a really monumentous.
Yeah, it was. It was. Yeah.
Even with the Watain smell, I've toured with Watain, and they're lots of fun, but they do come with an odor.
Yeah, but we had the same odor, so
yeah,
it doesn't matter. Now, theirs was even worse. No, I don't know. You get used to. I mean, I remember this. You really get used to that smell, and I remember when the tour was already long time ago. I went to Watain in 013. I think it's 2 years ago, maybe, or something. And then they invited me backstage, and I went backstage, and there was that smell again, and I was like, oh yeah, it felt so good. Yeah,
it's like a warm blanket.
Yeah, well, but scent is so connected to memories, and it was Absolutely. A good memory. So yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I have a friend who is their guitar tech, and he takes their guitars and opened it up, and it was full of maggots once, which is is something. Because you don't know when you're gonna, you guys acquired the blood on tour. It comes from fans a lot of the time, so you don't know what's going on there.
No, yeah, and when it gets old, it starts to live again. Yeah.
Amazing. Back to craft beer. If you could make a molasses craft beer, perfect. Yeah, introduce that one too. No, I don't know that. Nice blonde.
This is a Loemelaer, and it is from. Oh, my glasses aren't good enough anymore.
No worries.
Okay. Wat zeg je, Job?
Belgian Blonde.
Oh, it's from Belgium. It's a Belgian blonde beer.
Can't go wrong with the Belgian.
You can't go wrong with the Belgian.
No, you can't go. Cheers for that out.
Cheers. Yeah.
While you do that, think about this question. If you could make a molasses craft beer, what style of beer would it be, and what would you call
it? Well, molasses is this syrup. They use it for lots of stuff. then we would use that for a beer, I guess. Yeah,
It's actually a good idea.
I think so. It will be dark and thick and sticky. I think that is
Very cool.
yeah.
What
Yeah.
would you? Cheers.
And what would we call it?
Yes.
Cheers. Yeah, that's a good. I don't know. Death is.
Perfect. Yes.
Yeah. I
Hydrate
haven't
yourself.
thought about that. Yeah.
One last question, Farida.
Yeah.
You mentioned it earlier that if we drink too many of these Imperial Choco-Noisettes, 10.3% stouts, that you end up getting a headache. So
Yeah.
what is your hangover cure when that does happen?
Well, to be honest, I don't have hangovers. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I love drinking, and I rarely have hangovers. Once in years. So the only thing that I have is that I'm a little bit tired and a little bit grumpy. What helps is just close the windows, close the curtains, and put on some Netflix and yeah, don't talk to me. No, I have no, I'm sorry, I don't have hangovers.
I'm impressed.
Yeah.
You're an experience. It's because you've been drinking since you're so
don't know.
young.
Yeah,
Sipping the foam off the table.
I really don't know if it's a good sign. I don't think so.
Farida, thank you so much for taking the time, having a chat with me, talking about your life, music, and of course, craft beer.
Yeah.
Everybody, please go listen to Molassess' new record. Through the Hollow came out via Season of Mist on October 16th. I'm listening to it. It was my album of the week a few weeks ago, and I love it. I love it to death. Cheers, Farida. Thank you so much.
Cheers. Thank you. It was great.
Hey, thank you all so much for listening right to the end. You know that I love and appreciate that. What a great chat. I am such a fan of this new Molassess record, Through the Hollow. I've been listening to it just nonstop since it's dropped. I've just had it on constant rotation. Every time I listen to it, it's one of those albums that I'm hearing something new. It is super mesmerizing and completely captivating, and if you have not listened to it, I absolutely suggest that you go and do that right now. It came out via Season of Mist, and you should check it out. If you enjoyed this Vox&Hops episode, you should absolutely go and subscribe to the podcast on the podcast platform of your choice, because I have over 190 episodes that you can go back and check out. Vox&Hops is brought to you by Sound Talent Media. I have one more episode coming at you this Friday, but until then, remember to enjoy life, metal, and craft beer. Cheers, Vox&Hops heads.